This video tutorial looks at the kanji which you use to write the school subject home economics, which in Japanese is kateika. Now, home economics sounds a bit old-fashioned these days, but it's basically the subject that deals with household skills such as cooking and sewing. For the GCSE course, you only need the first two characters. They mean household. They're pronounced kate. But I've shown also the third one here for your information, the ka part of kateika. But I'm only going to deal with the origin and stroke order of the first two. Now, the first kanji means house, and it is pronounced ie or uchi when it's written on its own. This is the kun yomi, or the Japanese reading. But like most kanji, when it's used in combination with other characters, we use the on yomi, or the Chinese reading, which in this case is ka. Now, let's have a look at how this character evolved, and hopefully you can see what it's a picture of. Now, this is the most primitive version. This is between 3,000 and 4,000 years old, and hopefully you can see here in each case there's a structure, a building. You can see the walls and a roof, and then inside this little squiggly thing is actually a side-on pictograph of a pig. Now, these are the seal characters from about 2,000 years ago. Again, in every single case you can see that roof structure, but now clearly on top you can see that little line, that chimney. Oops, that one doesn't have neither does that. But most of them have a nice clear chimney on the top, and that is part of the modern character. Now, the pig shape becomes a little obscure in these characters, but if we have a look, I'm sure we can see one that works quite well. Well, I'm struggling to see a very clear pig shape. Let's have a look at the top ones. This one, I suppose it's got a head and a sort of tummy. But if we have a look up to the standardized 2,000-year-old seal characters, this one here is very close to the modern one, and you can see the legs, at least in the tail, quite clearly. Okay, let's see how we're going to write this character. Well, first of all, we're going to pop the chimney up the top. Then we're going to do the left-hand stroke of the roof, across and down on the right to complete the roof. Now comes the pig. Now, this bit here is the pig's head. Then we've got the legs, 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally here we've got the pig's tail. Now, why is a pig under a roof a house? Well, in ancient times, in ancient China, the family's livestock, the pigs and so on, were actually kept under the roof of the house to keep them safe and warm. And they were the main source of protein for the family, so they were very important members of the household, and they had their own area under the roof. So that's why a home or a household has a pig underneath, because that is a well-fed, happy household. Let's have a look at the stroke order. Stroke number 1, pig's head. Stroke number 2, front leg. Stroke number 3, pig's back and hind leg. Then we have the other remaining 2 legs. There we've got the 4 legs of the pig and the curly tail. The second character of kate, or household, is the kanji meaning garden. Its kun yomi, or Japanese pronunciation, is niwa. So when it's on its own, we pronounce it niwa. But when it's in combination, as it is in this case with kate, then it's pronounced te. Again, we'll start with the etymology. And it's a little hard to see, but you've got here an open roof. And that indicates that it's a covering or an awning. So we've got a covering, and then underneath we've got a courtyard garden. And this element here, it was a man, and he was standing on dirt, so you can see the dirt there in the bottom and the man. And then this part apparently was extending out. But if we have a look at the modern version over here, I think it looks a bit more like a 3 with a ground underneath. So let's look more closely at the modern form. Have a look at the stroke order whilst we have a look at the rest. So we've got our awning there. This side we've got the man standing on the ground. Here we've got what looks like a 3 and then a stroke going underneath. To me, it looks like the awning over the garden, the courtyard garden, The man there, he is indeed standing, there's his head, and he's standing on the ground. And if we think there are 3 of them in the garden, because it's nice to have 3 people having a nice garden party, 3 people in the garden, and there's the ground underneath. Let's check out our stroke order one more time, because it's a little complicated. Now we've got a cross, and there's our awning, we've got our man, there's his head, there's the ground where he's standing, 3 of them, and underneath is the bottom of the garden. So that's how we write the 2 characters which are read kate, which are from kate ka, meaning the school subject where you learn about household skills.